Welcome, everyone, to Courageous Creative Conquerors. This is Jean Voice Dart. It's my belief that everyone has a gift of creative expression. We were born to express ourselves to stay healthy and happy. Whether you are planting a garden, writing a story, building a cabinet, sewing a scarf, or singing a song, what matters is expressing from the heart. And the creative and expressive arts are a healthy coping strategy that shifts us from trauma to triumph. So join me as we listen and learn key tips and techniques from our special guest and courageous creative conqueror. My special guest today is Amber Guzman, singer, craft maker, needleworker, quilt maker, and all-around creative creator. I'm Jean Voice Dart, and I have with me my special guest, Amber Guzman, and this is Courageous Creative Conquerors podcast. Welcome, Amber.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Glad to interview you. You're one of my most creative friends that I know. Amber has so many different creative projects. She's multi-talented, and this is going to be a super fun interview. I'm just really excited to have you here. So the first thing I'd like to do is talk to you, and I do this with all my guests, about your childhood and growing up through young adult and adulthood with creativity. Were you always creative as a young child, and how?
Well, I was raised by my grandparent.
Okay, so let's take a look at this photo of you with your grandmother, and I understand you call her Mama. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about Mama.
Mama is and always will be an amazing woman. She passed probably 6 or 7 years ago. But as I mentioned, she raised me as her own, my sister and myself. The picture that we're looking at is from my high school graduation. But she was wonderful. When she was younger, she was a jazz singer. So she sang at the Purple Onion in San Francisco for many years as a professional. And so she also taught me a lot about singing.
Wow, I love that. What fun. So did you sing with her, maybe in church or something?
We were raised in the church. She put me in all the choirs, children's choir, regular choir. But just she would always sing in the car. That was part of her creativity as well. She was always singing. So even on the car when we're going to school, she was singing songs and a lot of fun. So I learned a lot about tone and inflection just by listening to her.
And probably stage presence and performance and all that
Oh,
stuff.
for sure. She put me in lots of programs when I was a younger person. That's a picture of her on promotional picture for the Purple Onion. But yeah, I was in Juneteenth festivals, plays. She really put me in a lot of activities to keep me busy.
Wonderful. And here you are. This is a picture of you performing. And how often and how important is singing to you?
I love to sing. If I wasn't doing it professionally or with other bands, I'd be singing in the shower or,
Yeah.
just singing around the house. I really, really enjoy it. I've been singing background with a couple of bands for a few years in the Monterey Bay area. Recently, I'm with Shannon and the Night Divers.
Uh-huh.
And we do some disco music. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Can you sing a
So,
little bit for us right now?
oh, well, not anything that fancy, but I will sing. I'm sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I'm sending you light to hold you in love. I'm sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I'm sending you light to hold you in love.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, so while we're on this topic here, the sign behind me here is Courageous Creative Conquerors. And so most of the people that come on here talk about some kind of challenges or something they've been through and why the creative arts are important to them. I don't know of anybody that hasn't had challenges in their life. So have you had a pretty easy life, or did you have some rocky times? And how did music, and particularly singing, you just sang for us, or the creative arts, help you get through those kinds of situations?
Well, as I was said, I was raised by my grandmother, and that's a semi-traumatic, difficult thing to go through when you have living parents, but you're not raised with them for one reason or the other. And so that was difficult for me. Also, I wasn't diagnosed until an adult, but it turns out I was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, which I really, I can laugh at it now because I've always been seeking to learn and seeking to do things. Um, and at times I'll start doing something, get very successful at it, and then say, okay, I've done that. And I want to move on to the next thing. I just want to keep learning and growing. Um, there isn't one particular thing that stands out for me in terms of my childhood that I had to overcome that the arts has helped me with. But I think my life as a whole, growing up with mama and the singing, um, it really distracted me from some of the traumas that did go on, or the trauma of just like being an adoptive situation, and the other obstacles with drugs and alcohol that were in my family growing up.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so generally having a creative outlet was just a blessing, and she put me in
Yeah.
everything. I didn't know what I wanted to do. She gave me a taste of it all. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I know there are people out
mhm.
there that are going through tough times, and just to know that the creative arts really can be that safety net. They can really be, and they're so safe too. It's not like harmful drugs, or anything,
Right.
that can help us. And so much research shows how powerful they are in so many different ways. Let's
Hmm.
take a look here at some of the things that you do, and we can chat a little bit while we're flipping through them here. Okay. All right. So tell me what we're looking at here.
Mm. When I first started getting creative on my own, when I went to college, one of my best friends got married, and they had this wonderful child that ended up being my little godson, and I wanted to do something special. And there's something about tangible items that were made for with the intention of the person that you're gifting it to, made by your hands, that was just such a treasure. So I learned how to crochet. I got a pattern, and I learned how to crochet. It wasn't this particular blanket. You can kind of scroll through and see lots of blankets that I've done, but that was how it began. I wanted to make something special, and it's also a somewhat of a meditative process, crocheting for me, because it's very methodical. There's a lot of repetition in it, and it's just calming to my nerves. But
Yes, I agree. I
it's
totally
kind of
relate
like
to
a
everything you're saying.
meditative thing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just something that is just very calming to me to do that when my mind is scattered, and just to sit down and do knitting or crochet or something like that, or embroidery, or any of
Yeah.
those kinds of things, or painting or drawing or anything, even digital art, just getting lost in it. Um, just wonderful
Mhm.
feeling. Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. And your stitch work is just really beautiful, flawless, I see.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
And these pattern, did you have a pattern or did you just kind of get creative and come up with your own pattern
I
sometimes?
wish I could say that I just came up with my own, but I usually use a pattern. That's also
Yeah,
part of the creative process and fun is like trying to find the perfect pattern, going on the Pinterest
yeah.
boards and looking for something that really sparks something in me. I see it and I'm like, oh, there's
Oh,
a
this is so,
degree of challenge that I enjoy as well.
yeah, this is so darling with the hat there.
Hmm.
Very cute. Yeah. Yeah. And I loved what you said about there's something about doing it with your hands with the intention of giving it to someone. And I'm a strong believer that that final step in the creative arts is
Right,
giving, either giving to
right.
ourselves or giving to others. That's really what puts the final piece of the creating, being creative. Uh,
Yeah,
there you
definitely.
go. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on to another type of art here. Um, oh, well, you want to just tell a little bit about this? Tell us
Oh,
about.
yeah, it was really fun. I wanted to make an elephant border to gift to a friend of mine, and I couldn't find. There's some tutorials online, but I couldn't find a tutorial that actually had a good look from both sides. So I needed it to be reversible. So I discovered a way to make the ears show on either side of the blanket. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to share this with people. And so I made a quick YouTube video and I posted it on YouTube. The YouTube video went viral in the crocheting community.
Oh my
And so I
gosh.
have like, you know, at least over maybe 1,800 followers on YouTube, but it really all stemmed from that one video. Nobody watches anything else that I do, but I
Yeah.
thought that
Oh,
was fun.
elephant border. Look at that elephant. That is the
Yeah.
most darling thing. I
Yeah.
love
And it
it.
looks good from both sides too. And
The ears on
that
both
was the
sides.
trick. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to look at that. That sounds really interesting. Okay, and then now we're going to get into some other different kinds of ways that you're creative. And I think you're in your creative room right now. Is that where you are?
I have my daughters moved away for college, and so I just took over their room. So
Oh,
one of their rooms is my office slash creativity, you know, all the things in one. That's my maker space. And then this room is my sewing room. So yeah,
oh,
I'm
okay. So you
in
might
the
be
sewing room now.
holding up a few things too, but let's look at this. You made a welcome
Yeah.
mat.
So yeah, my husband gifted me a silhouette cameo machine. Sometimes people have Cricut machines. It's a cutter, a vinyl cutting machine. And I've been able to make lots of things over the past years. I've made so many things with that machine. It's just a really great vinyl cutter. So this one, I made a stencil and then I stenciled in black the design that I made. My husband's Italian, so he loves the Godfather movie. So this
Yeah,
has a Godfather theme to it. But
Godfather, welcome back.
yeah,
And you made t-shirts.
t-shirts. These were for my daughter's gym. It was a parent team that they got together, and so I made tons of t-shirts over the years. And I didn't send all the pictures in of all the things that I've made, but t-shirts. You can scroll through. What else have I done with that vinyl cutter? Oh, these were little goodie bags for, believe it or not, a wedding that was on Halloween. So their
Oh,
anniversary, Halloween,
how
and they asked me to
unusual.
make little goodie bags for their. But there were so many things that I could make with that, and having great tools really you can just the sky's the limit on the creativity. So these are some Dollar Tree stockings that I cut the names out on my silhouette. I
Oh,
do them at
beautiful.
Christmas time. And then I started getting into these cups, these tumblers, um, with epoxy and my vinyl cutter and glitter, like all the things that I love, all in one tool. Unfortunately, the longer I made them, the more I realized I was allergic to the two-part
Oh
epoxy.
my goodness. Okay.
And so I decided to kind of end that part of my creative journey, but I really loved that. And you're moving on to more pictures. This is when my husband, again, my husband's been sparking a lot of my creativity. I didn't realize
Mhm.
that he was such a catalyst, but my
Yeah.
husband, Edward, got me a glow forge fiber laser. And I've been able to make so many lovely cutouts. I went through a phase where I was using a scroll saw to cut out wood signs. And this just like cut the time in half. It did it all for me. All I had to do was
Mhm.
design, and then it did it. So I made that name, Athena, on top of the,
It's
I mailed
beautiful.
that out. I don't know
Hmm.
where she's living now. They were military, but I think the next few pictures, this is a tic-tac-toe board personalized with their names. I
Oh, wow.
made so many different things with that laser. This was a sign for one of my girlfriend's daughter's 16th birthday. Just,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
a sign. I love this term. You know, people use this in a different way, that something else that starts with
Yeah.
SHI happens. But really, for me, this is a sign that I made for myself, because no matter
Oh,
what I'm going through, whatever the situation is, it's all in the way the way I choose to look at it. If I
yes.
shift the
Reframe
way I
it. And
look at it and
yeah.
reframe it, then it can be
Mhm.
something positive or not as traumatic or
Yes.
sad. So these were ornaments that I made for Christmas back in COVID. So I really was into the laser during COVID time
Hmm.
because we couldn't go anywhere. So I had lots of time to play with it.
Are those wooden?
They're wood on the outside, a wooden on the outside, and then on the inside is acrylic. So it's
Mm.
like a plastic, a mirrored plastic. Yeah. And of course, I could do laser engraved pencils. I started a business called Glow Unlimited at one point, because I'm usually somebody that likes to be in the background. I have a lot of talents and I like to perform, but I don't like to stand. I don't like to shine. I like to kind of
You
lay
don't
back in the
like to?
cut and just kind of do my own thing. I don't like to be looked at unless I'm on stage performing, and then it's a whole nother animal. But glow unlimited, you know, to have an unlimited, we all have this glow. We all shine. We shine a light from within us, like only we can in our own individual way. And so Glow Unlimited was something that I kind of created to shine. I've since closed the business, but just that
Mhm.
term, Glow Unlimited, is.
So tell me about that glow unlimited. I mean, the philosophy of it that you're talking about. What if there's some people out there and they aren't shining? You know, they don't have that confidence that you're talking about, that tapping into knowing that they are a light, they do have something special to share. And just look at the camera right now and just take a moment to talk to someone who's out there that's itching to create and has something. They've been tapped on the shoulder, but they're stopping themselves. What would you say?
Hmm. I would tell them that you are a gift, and you have a gift that only you can express. Even if it's been done before, or you know, you don't think you can do it as well as others have, the way that you create is special and unique, and it's a gift to the world.
Mhm.
So don't stop doing what you're doing. Just continue on. I would also say that it's similar to my philosophy on love. Like, love is such a great feeling, but it doesn't always get reciprocated in the same way. But love is not for the other person. You have love for the other person, but it's not for them to get anything out of it. I love because it makes me feel good. It feels good
Right.
for me to give the love. The love is the gift in itself. So, on that same vein, whatever you decide to make and create, if nobody else loves it, it doesn't matter. It's coming from you, and it's a gift to the world. And somebody's going to love it,
Yeah.
and it's special and it's necessary. So
Yeah. And I like what you said. It's not really about doing it because you want somebody to love it. It's about releasing that flow. You know, you get all backed up. And if we're receivers and we're receiving, we have to let it go and express it. And that's what's important. And
yeah.
that's where the creative arts come in. We're going to move on to what you're doing right now, a lot of, which is
Hmm.
quilt making. What's your current project? Show us
My
right now.
one of my current projects, my goddaughter was married on Friday the 13th, and I I made the little leaves, the little white leaves, and I asked everyone in attendance to sign something special to the happy couple. And
Oh,
so it's coming along, but I'm not quite done with the top. And then, of course, I have borders and other things, but that is my current project. And I also have a quilt behind me that is on, sorry, I don't want to make anyone dizzy, but the quilt behind me on the frame, this is also something I'm working on. This is a long
oh,
arm machine, and it takes the quilt top that you piece together, the batting, and then the backing. And in this case, my backing is all wound up, but it's a minky fabric that's nice and cuddly. So you're sewing all of those together and making a pattern on the top in however you choose. So this is a quilt that I made because I saw the pattern and I just had to make it. Like there wasn't anybody in particular that I was going to make it for. And my sister-in-law just loved it. And she said, I'd love to have that.
oh.
So I'm gifting it to her, but I really wanted to get the wedding quilt done first.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now,
so
what
I
was
have a
it?
couple of works in process. And
You
now the
do?
backing is doing all sorts of things.
Okay. Tell me,
So
how did you get started in quilt making, and what do you like about it?
oh my gosh. So I mentioned that I was diagnosed with ADHD, which is the reason that I think I'm like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, now I want to do that. And quilting and designing and making things with the fabric, there's so many different elements. First, you have to design or find a pattern that you like. Then you're cutting the fabric, and then you're sewing the little pieces together, and you're sewing the bricks together, or whatever the design may be. And then you've got the batting and the backing and that design element, and then the long arming, which is the machine behind me, and actually quilting the three layers together. And then how would you like to design that? There's just so many different elements to quilting that it's been over a year and I haven't gotten bored yet. Not to say that I
Yeah.
won't be doing something next year, but I just think there's just so many different elements to it that it just keeps me really busy.
Oh, and it's just so beautiful. Is this your husband?
No, that's his
Okay.
son. They do favor, but that's Edward's son, and this was a quilt that I gifted him
Uh-huh.
for his child. It's made out of shirts from Edward's uncle who passed away.
Oh,
They gave me three of his Hawaiian shirts, and he was a large man. And I cut it into pieces, and it was really interesting for me to design something that was so special to the family.
aw.
Yeah, so it was a really nice experience to make that. And I backed it with minky fabric, so it was nice and cuddly on the back. But those are Uncle's shirts.
Oh, wow. And how long generally, I know each project is different, but how long does it take you to make a quilt from start to finish? Generally, I mean,
Yeah,
it
each one has
varies.
been different. When I first started the first one that I did, the black and white quilt, I did it with such a fervor. I just wanted it done. So it was done in about 3 weeks total.
Oh,
But
wow.
it all depends. Lately I've been really busy and I haven't spent a lot of time working because I still do have a 9 to 5 job.
Mhm.
So sometimes I just want to veg out and not do anything. So
You
it all
know,
depends.
I think right there what you just said, I bet that a lot of people don't realize that you do have a 9 to 5 job because all
Yeah.
that you're showing us, it looks like somebody that's just retired and doing all these crafts.
One day, I can't wait till that day comes. That's a picture of some hats. Another little item that I got. They sell them at Michael's. The little knitting machine, circular knitting machine. So all you do is load your yarn and you just crank out a tube. And I've made hats. I think we made 80, possibly 80 hats for the gathering for women for the past two Christmases in a row. So it's a nice stash buster too. I can get rid of some of the old acrylic yarn that I have in the wool yarn.
I just got my a circular knitting machine about 5 days ago. I'm ready to
Okay.
go, and I was going to make hats and donate them to cancer survivors and thrivers. They've
Oh,
gone through
wonderful.
chemo, and they like the little hats and or others. Yeah, it's just a wonderful thing to do, and you can crank out a hat probably in 15 minutes or so. It's
Hmm.
really fun. Of course, I do love the hand doing things by hand, as you say, but this is also, well, there is hand work involved in
It is similar
tying it
to a
off and
sewing
yeah,
machine.
working with,
Like I'm
yeah.
not sewing by hand, but it's still a handmade item. So
Hmm.
there's
Yeah.
definitely.
But it is really, I'm looking for it. I haven't started yet. I just got it and getting some yarn and things. But yeah, yeah.
Yay, exciting. Well, I can't wait to see you. Maybe you'll be doing something on one of the Tuesday or Saturday creative Zoom calls that you
Absolutely.
have.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Amber comes on our creative community calls on Tuesdays or Saturdays, and we create together and have fun. So many opportunities, and especially you with all these different, tell them about the project that you did just recently on our call. You made something for your cat. I thought that was very interesting.
Yes. That it was kind of creative. I was putting
Very
together
creative. Yeah.
a large hamster wheel for my cat. One fast cat makes these 3 feet wheels with a soft padding, and so I put it together
Huge. It
during.
was
Yeah.
taking up the whole room. Yeah. Yeah. And carpeted.
Very
And
fun.
yeah. And
Hmm.
by the time we were done with our call, you had it finished. It was really amazing.
Hmm.
A
Yeah,
lot
so
of
I
fun.
love to put things together. That's creativity too. And one thing that I didn't mention that anybody can do, and it's such a wonderful gift, is writing,
Yeah.
journaling, or even getting a dated planner and, taking some highlighters and highlighting your day. It's just, I have so many old planners and journals. Yeah, something about that pen to the paper that
Me too.
really
Yes,
special.
journaling since childhood. I started my Barbie diary in grade school, and have had journals and diaries all my whole life, and just that time to be alone and tune in, and just even if it's just a 5 minute, whatever you can do,
Right.
or even longer if you can. Writing and journaling is just such a blessing. Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm,
I didn't ask you an important question that I ask everybody, which is how would you define creativity, Amber? You're just this
mm.
multi-talented, multi-creative person. What is creativity to you?
Mm. To me, creativity is being authentic. Um, I feel like I have a bit of an imposter syndrome. Like I said, I didn't know it was ADHD, but how I start something and then go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Um, that I was ashamed at. Once I got a diagnosis, I felt ashamed that, oh, maybe I'm not special. I'm just, my brain is just deficient in dopamine and is chasing, learning. And, um, but I've come to embrace it because it really is a part of who I am, and allowing myself to be authentic in in the diagnosis, in just allowing myself to be the crazy person that loves to try all the things
Yeah,
and being myself. It's just a wonderful thing. That's what I think creativity is, to show allowing yourself to show up in the world,
yeah.
and however you feel is the best way for you to do that.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. It's really safe to be weird and unusual and different in the creative arts. It's
Yeah.
applauded and appreciated. That's another thing about creativity is that you can just let it all go, be yourself, and be out of the box and find different ways to do things.
Hmm.
Well, thank you, Amber. This has just been so much fun, and I really appreciate having you. And thank you, all of you, for watching and supporting the creative arts. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Jean.
Bye. To see more Courageous Creative Conquerors videos, join the weekly Creative Community calls, or learn more about private sessions, visit jeanvoicedart.com.